Helena from Glass Factory. I'm here with Brynn Elliott.
Hi,
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you tell us a
Good.
little bit about yourself?
Yes. So my name's Brynn Elliott. I am from Atlanta, Georgia, originally. I'm currently living in Los Angeles and I write pop music.
Awesome. What's your favorite part about living in LA right now?
Oh, goodness. Well, I think for me, my favorite part of living in LA is that it's so different from where I grew up. It's literally the opposite end of the country. So it's kind of been nice during this season of kind of isolation to be in somewhere new and like explore this place on my own and get to know it through really my own eyes. So I really loved being here.
Did you move here just before quarantine?
I actually moved here during the pandemic. So
Oh,
I moved last fall, around end of September, which was crazy. But I have really enjoyed like being in one place. Typically, I'm on the road a lot, when the world is normal. And it's been nice to like get to know my apartment and set it up in the way that I want. So, yeah.
yeah, that's awesome. When did you decide that you were gonna be a musician? Do you have an exact moment?
Sort of. I wouldn't say that it's an exact moment where I was like I knew I was going to be a musician. I do have a moment where I sort of knew that something was happening in me that I couldn't ignore regarding music. So when I was in high school, I was trying to go to college. No one in my family had done that before. And so it was really important to me to be the one who went to college, got in. And so I was really stressed and overwhelmed. And I had started playing guitar just kind of at the end of the day to relax and unwind. And I was like learning chords on YouTube and learning songs and covering songs that I really enjoyed, but I had never written my own song. But one night I was sitting down to do some SAT homework, which was particularly stressful for me because I am a really bad sort of multiple choice test taker. But obviously, the SAT, at least at the time, was really important to getting into college. So I was like, oh, I'm so stressed. I'm so overwhelmed. And as soon as I sat down to do it, I had this feeling of like, you need to not do this. You need to write a song. And I had never kind of had that sort of like prompting. It felt like almost a voice in some ways telling me to do it. And so I nixed the SAT homework and got my guitar and I wrote a song um, called The Road. And it was just about the road of life. And it was my first song I ever wrote. And from that point, I just kept writing songs. And so I think that was sort of the kind of quote unquote moment of like spark in me to make my own music.
Hmm, that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I did not get a great SAT score, but that's fine.
That's okay.
Yeah,
SATs are really hard.
really are terrible. Really don't
But
love
yeah,
it.
no, like it's cool to hear that you just decided to go the direction that your heart led you, and that's really unique and that's special.
Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah. So what drives you to create music? What is it that like what is your muse basically?
Yeah, I think my muse is wanting to write songs about like what is real in this life. I ended up going to college and studying philosophy, and I loved philosophy because it kind of asked these sort of universal human questions. And I feel like songwriting and especially pop music does the same thing. Like a lot of pop music is about love because that's sort of like a universal feeling or experience that we all go through as human beings. And so I just like to write songs about that. And I think for me as well, I'm such a like a people pleaser and a rule follower and I want to write songs about kind of me owning my own life and figuring out kind of what really is real. And so my next project that's coming out in a few weeks is kind of about that. And so I think even in the music I'm writing now, it's kind of, if whether it's about going through heartbreak or whatever kind of scenario it might be, it's all about kind of finding the truth in yourself. And so that theme kind of has continued for me for a while.
How's the pandemic impacted that and impacted your craft overall?
Yeah, so the pandemic impacted me in a number of ways. I would say like the first 6 months, I was unable to write a song, which is very strange for me. I had like major writer's block, and I think I'm definitely more of an emotional person just in my core, and so I think I was taking on the emotions of everything that was going on around me and in the world, and I think I was just sort of unable to um, write a song because I was just feeling too much. But I did do a lot of other creative things. So I did some drawing and I learned more about cooking, and I think sort of exercised my creative abilities through those mediums. And then about when I moved to LA in October, I was like, okay, I think I can write again. And I started writing heartbreak songs, which I think was something that I was going through personally, but also was kind of just indicative of the time of last year and really the past year and a half. So yeah, I obviously miss so much getting to play live music. I think that's probably a universal thing for most artists. But I'm really excited to see some potential um, kind of lights at the end of that tunnel for playing live. So yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of performing, you just performed at Atlantic on Deck in LA. Tell me a
Yes.
little bit about that. What was your experience like? I got to see it myself, so I
Oh,
like,
cool.
yeah.
Thanks for watching. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
no problem.
Oh my gosh, that was honestly such a big bright spot this year. I We got to play. You saw it like on these like fun sets, which with these cool lights, and I got like these curtains that I could sort of perform around, and yeah, it definitely like fulfilled this small like or this pretty big hole in myself of like playing live and performance and utilizing, space and stage to play the music. And also I got to play with some of the coolest ladies in the entire world. Sarah, Jax, Caitlin, and Maya, like they are just really, really, really amazing artists. So I felt really honored to be able to share the stage with them.
Yeah, it's super cool. So did you get to pick your stage, or was it chosen for you?
We all got to pick. And what was really funny is that everyone picked like the thing that they ended up with. So there was no like, oh, someone wants it. It was like, it was just meant to be. And I think,
Yeah.
um, yeah, it was just cool that I think every sort of iteration, every setup kind of expressed the individual's kind of taste and vibe. So it was really, really cool to see that.
Yeah, that's really cool. I would think that somebody would want one stage or whatever, but maybe they all picked one to fit. Like, oh, this is one that Brynn might pick. This is one
Yeah.
I might pick. So I don't know.
Yeah, it was so fun. I had never done anything like that either. I'd never sort of performed with a set. And so it was cool to kind of start to think about what that might look like in the future as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of in the future, are you planning any tours or anything like that? Is it too early to say or?
No, it's not too early to say. I am actually well, this is being announced tomorrow, but it's fine. I'm doing a live stream show with Moment House called the Can I Be Real Moment, and it's where I'm going to be performing my next EP in full. It's about an hour long with a band, and we shot it at the Troubadour here in LA, which is one of my favorite venues of all time. And then I am going to be going on a tour in September, kind of like September and October. We're going to do a handful of dates because everyone's saying that we can do this safely. And I'm really, really excited for that.
Yeah, super exciting. Well, first off, congrats on the new EP. Yeah, what are some concrete themes that you wanted to talk about and that came up while you were writing?
Yes. So I wrote this project actually after a 2-year period of being on the road promoting my first project. So I literally graduated college and was immediately sort of on tour. I was hearing my song on the radio for the first time. I was playing the Today Show, which made my mom really excited. And I was really excited about it. And I never played on TV before. I kind of had this moment at the end of that whole experience where I always want to write about the season that I'm in, or that I've just kind of walked through. And I was like, wow, I can totally see myself as a people pleaser, sort of not being fully authentic in this world of performance and sort of the glitz and glamour of that. And so I was reading some philosophy as I do. And this guy, Soren Kierkegaard, said that the most common form of despair is not being who you really are. And I could start to feel that tension within myself. And so I asked the question, like, can I be real? Can I be a real person in sort of my life of performance, and also in the age of the internet and as a woman? And what is real beauty? We're getting all of these sort of messages online, especially as women, for what beauty is. And so those were all themes that I became very, very passionate about. And the project really just flowed from there. And that's what it's all about.
Cool. So your latest single is toward the new EP, a letter to a girl. So is that like
Yes,
your own personal letter to yourself? With
it is.
Yeah. So could you tell me a little bit
Yeah.
about that and what that means for you?
Yeah, of course. So Letter to a Girl I wrote was actually the first song I wrote for the project. The first song I wrote after I got off the road. And I was opening for this band called Why Don't We? And they are this incredible boy band, and they have this wonderful, primarily female fan base, and also primarily like younger girls, teenagers. And I just sort of related so much every night when I would perform for them to them. And I was like, wow, I see myself, and I'm like reminded of my teenage self through these girls. And I just really wanted to write a song with all the things that I wish I had known at that age. And so I had a session with a woman, incredible songwriter named Jessie Thomas, and Nathan Chapman. And I just walked in and I was like, I want to write a letter to a girl, a letter to myself and to like all these girls I just performed for. And Jessie like totally got where I was like coming from. And yeah, so it was kind of the song that sparked the rest of the project in some ways, because it sort of encapsulates all of the themes that I'm talking about. But yeah, I think it is one of my favorite songs I've ever made.
I find it really inspiring that you write, like, it seems like all your music has that positive, uplifting message to those people that are, like growing up or going through a hard time. And it's really cool to see happy music that like has that meaning, it has that substance. So, what, when people listen to your music, what is the message that you want to tell?
Yeah, that's so great.
EP, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I really do hope that the message that folks take away from this EP is in their own lives to be themselves. Whatever that looks like for them, and as they navigate the internet and relationships and whatever it might be, like that they would know that because they're human, they are awesome, and And yeah, I think that's really the biggest hope for this project, that people would walk away feeling hopeful about who they are.
Cool. That's really sweet.
Oh, thank you.
Well, that's about all the questions I have for you.
Okay,
But
cool.
congrats again on the EP.
Mm.
Do you have any final words, any other statements to say before we head out?
Yeah, no, I think that's good. I think just stay tuned for um, tour announcements, and I'm planning on just being on the road and releasing more music the rest of the year. So,
That's
yeah.
awesome. Is there a full length coming?
Yes, it is in the works currently.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing that. Looking forward to hearing the EP. And yeah,
Cool. Thank you
super
so
nice
much,
to meet you.
Elena.
But
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
yeah, so have a good one.
You too.
All right.
Bye.